how would we protect or start to look at protecting our own religious freedoms, starting here in Iowa? Start with Kevin.
How would we protect our religious freedoms? I think one of the I guess I have a unique perspective on the private schools and the public schools. I went through private schools my whole life, as did my wife. My children started in private school and finished in public schools. I have 2 grandchildren in Rock Valley Christian. I have 2 grandchildren in Spencer Catholic School, and I have 4 in Sioux Center Community School. So I have both sides. I think the biggest way to keep religious freedom in our schools is to keep the state out. That's why I am definitely not in favor of a voucher system, because when the state gives you money, there's always strings attached. There always is. I've dealt with it for 15 years with the city. They're going to find a way to get in there, and if you want to keep the religious freedom in our school, in our Christian schools, you need to keep the state money out, and that's why the tax that you can get, the credit on your tax for tuition, where you can give that money to it. I've talked to people from the Christian school, and they agree. They just say, let's keep the state out, because then they can't get in there and take our religious freedom away.
Jeff.
Yeah, I would. I think that educational savings grant, well, on first blush, it does kind of seem pretty attractive. Oh, we get this grant. I know it was needs-based, so for people with need. But I think you're right. There is always that danger of the camel getting its nose under the rug, and whether or not what sort of strings come with that. Just more generally, there's no question religious liberty. I mean, I work at Northwestern College, where we are passionate about integrating faith and learning. We don't want the state telling us, who we can hire. We want to be able to hire followers of Jesus, people that want to interrogate their discipline in light of their faith. And yet, we live in a changing world. It may not be changing quite as fast here in Sioux County, but it's becoming much more diverse. It's becoming pluralistic. I don't know if we've entered this age of being a post-Christian country, but if we haven't, we might be awfully close to. And so how do we live? I mean, again, the state public square is filled with a whole bunch of people. They're not all Christians. They're not all like us in Sioux County. How do we live in that sort of space? I want them to treat our faith, and so that I can freely exercise my faith. And I think we need to protect that. I mean, some of the decisions that people are offended by and upset with, whether it's a Supreme Court decision on gay marriage or some of those things, that battle, sadly and unfortunately, has been lost. What can we do looking forward in terms of protecting our religious liberties and what we have at private Christian schools?
All right, Skyler.
Well, to make a comment, I don't believe that the battle on marriage has been lost. William Wilberforce would have went ahead and said, you know what, slavery is the law of the land here in Great Britain, I'm not going to even bother. Then nothing would have been done about it, but he spent 45 years over there, pounding it into people's head, we need to do something about that. And I plan to do the same thing here in the state of Iowa. It's a tough road, and it's a battle, but like I've heard many a times, and it's said, the Supreme Court's job was not to make law, and that those 5 justices acted as if they were God. But when it comes to religious liberty, Dwayne Alon's had sponsored several bills, and John Quaker has as well, that would defend specifically Christians and Christian business owners and those in schools and whatnot from being taken to court, or even like what happened to Ken Davis in Kentucky, going to jail for standing up for what they believe. And that is foundational to this country. One of the things we've gotten away from is the law of nature and of nature's God, which is in our founding documents. And if we can't have that, and especially as Christians in Sioux County, if we can't send somebody over there that's willing to fight for our religious freedoms, then nobody's going to. You had a Dwayne Alons, you have a John Quake, you can have a Skyler Wheeler that goes over there with a Steve Holt, a Sandy Salmon, and is going to defend Christians and allow us to worship freely and not worry about the government getting involved and telling us that we can't stand for what we believe in, when marriage is one man and one woman, and like I said, the law of nature and nature's God proves that as well.